Yes, madam, we are ready.
Ready, sir.
Yeah. Now here, Krishna is having talked of actions. He's now trying to tell us to next segment how we can get self-realization. Not by giving up action. We cannot give up action. Action is inevitable. What we should have is a desireless action. If we can have action, we can perform action without desire. That is the best thing to do. That is the advice Krishna is giving to us. Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha.
Trigunya Vishaya Vedaha.
He's trying to tell what does Vedas contain. Vedas contain about action which is related to three gunas. Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha.
Trigunya Vishaya Vedaha.
Nistraigunyaka Bhava Arjuna.
Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna.
Because action, every action is linked with three gunas. Krishna is telling you rise above gunas. You try to transcend the gunas. Traigunya, which nistraigunya, go beyond the gunas. Traigunya Vishayaha Vedaha.
Trigunya Vishaya Vedaha.
Nistraigunyaka Bhava Arjuna.
Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna.
Nirdvandvaha Nityasatvastaha.
Nirdvandvaha Nityasatvastaha.
Niryogakshemaha Atmavan.
Niryogakshemaha Atmavan.
Traigunya Vishayaha Vedaha.
Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha.
Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna.
Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna.
I'm reading what is contained in blue letters. Here, when a running phrase, you don't have to pronounce the Visarga. Visarga is not pronounced. Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha.
Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha.
Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna.
Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna.
Nirdvandvo Nityasatvastaha.
Nirdvandyo Nityasatvastaha.
Niryogakshema Atmavan.
Niryogakshema Atmavan.
We notice here Veda, Vedaha. Vedaha means with Visarga, I'm pronouncing Vedaha. Similarly, Vishaya, Vishayaha. Now the principle here is, if this Visarga is coming in between, if you're not giving a pause, it's in between, you don't pronounce Vishaya. So what we do is, if I read separately, Traigunya Vishayaha Vedaha, read together. Then I pronounce Visarga. If I read together, Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha.
Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha.
Not only that, when we are getting convenient, no, we pronounce entire line together. Even then also Vedaha becomes Vedaha, Veda, that's all. You can see. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna.
Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna.
You say Vedaha if you are giving a pause. If you are not giving a pause, simply say Veda. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna.
Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhava Arjuna.
Second line similarly, Nirdvandvaha. Visarga get drops. It becomes Nirdvandvo. It gets modified as Nirdvandvo. Whereas Nitya Sattvastaha remains Nitya Sattvastaha if I am giving a pause. If I don't give pause there also, it becomes Nitya Sattvasto. Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastaha.
Nirdvandyo Nitya Sattvastaha.
I hope you are able to see the difference. If I read separately, Nirdvandvaha Nitya Sattvastaha.
Nirdvandaha Nitya Sattvastaha.
Giving break. Without break, Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastaha.
Nirdvando Nitya Sattvastaha.
Especially you will see Vishnu Sahasranama, when you recite to people, when they're reading completely, it gets modified. We find a difference between the way a person reads fast, a person reads slow, or a person focuses only on names. You find difference only in this, nothing more than that. Nidvando nitya sattvastaha
Nirdvandyo Nitya Sattvastaha.
niryogakshema atmavan.
Niryogakshema Atmavan.
Now let us see the meaning straight away. Arjuna, here simple reference is Arjuna, not Kurunandana, Partha, Kaunteya, no, Arjuna. Vedaha Traigunya Vishayaha. The Vedas which have been referred to, they mention all pleasures and the means to attain them. They give all pleasures which human beings want and how to attain them. Everything is contained in Vedas. But now it is up to us. Like for example, you go to a library. In the library, all types of books are there. But I don't read all books. I select what I want, pick up that book and read. Just like that, a Veda is a knowledge bank. What we want, I should go. If I'm focusing on liberation, let us not worry about karma kanda. Or if I'm satisfied only with that, go there and be happy. You get a limited result. What is called a anitya phalaha. The phala which will vanish. That is what it will come. If you want that, take it. So Krishna says, now you can see what advice is. Nistraigunyaha, nirdvandvaha, nitya sattvastaha, niryogakshemaha, atmavan, bhava. So bhava appears for everything. Bhava means be. Nistraigunyaha bhava, nirdvandvaha bhava, nitya sattvasta bhava, niryogakshema bhava, atmavan bhava. This is what Krishna is telling Arjuna. That means be free from three gunas. That means transcend the three gunas. Be free from pairs of opposites. Remain ever in sattva. Nitya sattvastaha. Remain ever in sattva. That means don't be focusing only on rajoguna and tamoguna. You be detached from worldly actions and excitements. Niryoga kshemaha. Yoga kshema. In one verse, Krishna says, I will give you yoga and kshema. He tells you. But better that don't worry about this. Yoga is acquisition, kshema is preservation. Don't worry about this. Be free from acquisition and preservation. Niryoga kshemaha. Then what should I do? Atmavan bhava. Atmavan. Always be established in the Supreme Self. So this is a very high advice given to Arjuna. And actually this is a message of Lord Krishna for entire humanity. Nistraigunyaha bhavaha nirdvandvaha bhava. This is what Krishna is telling. Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha.
Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha.
Nistraigunyo bhava Arjuna.
Nistraigunyo bhava Arjuna.
Nirdvandvo nitya sattvastaha.
Nirdvandvo nitya sattvastaha.
Niyogakshema atmavan.
Niyogakshema atmavan.
It's a very important verse, so you can go a bit details. Now, when you say gunas, there are three gunas. All of us know sattva guna, tamo guna, rajo guna. Tamo guna means inactive, indolent, indifferent, not inclined to any activity. The example contained in Ramayana is Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna is not good or bad. Kumbhakarna is not inclined to any activity. The fellow is sleeping for 6 months, symbolically shown as sleeping for 6 months. That means he does not want any activity. Good or bad is not issue. Lazy, indolent, indifferent, doesn't bother what is happening. So this is called tamas. Then rajoguna. Rajoguna is full of passion, agitation, fully involved in activities of the world. So rajoguna can be good or bad. Rajoguna, bad example is Ravana, Duryodhana, Hiranyakashipu. Good example can be Arjuna himself. or any warrior, even Bhishma, all people are involved in activity, but good activity is good Rajoguna, good of the Rajoguna. All every socially active persons, we are having Rajoguna. But Rajoguna can be good or bad. It is full of passion, full of agitation, fully involved in acts of the world. Then Sattva is above these two. Thoughts seeped in equanimity, serenity, and poise. So Ramayana gives example of three brothers. Kumbhakarna represents Tamoguna, Ravana represents Rajoguna, and Vibhishana represents Sattaguna. But what does Vibhishana do? Vibhishana does not stop there. He leaves Lanka and comes to Rama. Because Rama is Nistraigunyaha. Rama is beyond all these gunas. So once you come to Sattva-guna, you feel like going beyond. Actually, Sattva-guna is always example the given is it is like a ladder. Ladder is very important. Suppose you want to climb to a higher floor and you want to go to a higher level, you require a ladder, use a ladder, go there. But having gone there, if you're not required to come back to lower level, then ladder is unnecessary for you. Similarly, a boat, you want to cross a river, boat is very important for you. But having crossed the river and you are proceeding towards a much longer, much important destination, you are not going to come back. The boat is irrelevant for you. So it is like that. You have to come to Sattva-guna, but don't stop there. Go beyond Sattva-guna. That means you should go beyond all gunas. If you are stuck up in a Tamoguna, try to move from Tamas, try to move to Rajas. From Rajas, move to Sattva. And then having come to Sattva, don't stop there. Go beyond Sattva and merge with super consciousness. That is one. Second is Dvandva. What is Dvandva? That is pair of opposites. Black and white, profit and loss, good or bad, joy and sorrow, honor and dishonor. Now, all these things, Krishna says, they are creations because of our likes and dislikes. We are stuck in likes and dislikes. So I always want profit. I want prefer good. I want joy. I want honor. But if you are able to go beyond likes and dislikes, then both becomes immaterial for you. You are not worried about this. That is because the world does not exist for our likes and dislikes. Everybody in the world is not there to take care of my likes and dislikes. Maybe when you are a small baby, only mother, maybe parents will take care of likes and dislikes. But will the world bother about you? Will they bother take care of this? Maybe the husband and wife will take care of the likes and dislikes. Beyond that, nobody will do that. The world is not bothered about your likes and dislikes. So if you are able to come out of the grip of the likes and dislikes, then only you will be able to feel happy. That means accept the world, accept the people around you as they exist. Your neighbors are there, your friends are there, your pranamates are there. All may not be your to liking. Their actions, behavior, it may not be your to liking. What do? You accept it. Don't quarrel with that every day. Don't keep on saying why this was become neighbor, why this fellow is there. A should have been there, not B should have been there. It does not work. World will not behave like that. That is what it tries to say. So best thing is if you are able to becoming a nirdvandvaha, nitya then you become atmavan, nitya sattvastaha. It's a very, very important verse. Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha.
Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha.
Nistraigunyo Bhava Arjuna.
Nistraigunyo Bhava Arjuna.
Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastaha.
Nirdvando Nitya Sattvastaha.
Niryogakshema Atmavan.
Niryogakshema Atmavan.
Now, Krishna also gives a beautiful example of Vedas. Earlier he has said, from what Krishna says, we may get an impression that Vedas are, Krishna is making fun of Vedas, or Krishna is trying to say Vedas are useless. He is not at all telling that. You'll give a beautiful example. You can say, Yavan artha udapane
यावान् अर्थः उदपाने
sarvatah samplutodake
सर्वतः सम्प्लुतोदके
Yavan sarveshu vedeshu
तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु
brahmanasya vijanatah.
ब्राह्मणस्य विजानतः.
It's a beautiful example. Yavan artha udapane sarvatah samplutodake. Now, water is very, very important. In times of scarcity, or if you are traveling in a desert, water in a small bottle is of a tremendous value. In a desert, if you find a small pond of water, you call it oasis. You feel extremely happy about it. But that will not have same significance in a place where water is plentiful. Suppose you are living on the river banks of the river Ganges. Suppose the water is absolutely pure and clean. Or you are in rainy season, water is plenty. Or maybe the areas are flooded already. In such a case, one bottle of water will not have so much value. That is what he is trying to say. This example. Similarly, he says, for a person, enlightened person, vijanataha brahmanasya, a person who already is immersed in Brahma Tattva, Brahmana. Like an example, like suppose Ramana Maharshi, I'll give example. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. For them, these small stotras, etc., are not very important. They need not do rituals because they're already in that high elevated state. In that high elevated state, for them, these small rituals, small rules, regulations, which are contained in maybe some scriptures or what you call Vedas, they are not as significant. Not that they are useless. For them, they are not so relevant. That's all he's trying to say. Vedas, no doubt, are the greatest and most valuable scriptures. No doubt about it. The Karma Yogi makes use of the ritualistic portion of the Vedas. Whereas a bhakta, a devotee, simply chants the name of the God. He does only namasmarana. He does not do any ritualistic portion. He may not do anything. But he will always have the name of the God in his mind. One level above is a Gnani. The Gnani has delved into subtle philosophy to realize the truth. He is already standing on the boundary of liberation, at the what you call the foothills of liberation, already he has reached. For him, it is not required. This is what is shown in Mahaprasthana of Mahabharata. When all the Pandava brothers and Draupadi, they proceed towards, the only person who reaches the goal is Yudhishthira. Because he has reached that particular level, others cannot reach that level. They will fall midway. The Karma Yogi, for him, it is very important. But he uses the ritualistic portion to proceed further. He doesn't stop there. For a Bhakta, even rituals are not required. For a Gnani, he may not do even chanting. He's already reached there. He knows he is not different from the Paramatma. He is total identity between self and the Paramatma. He has merged into the Paramatma. So, the Gnani is the Vijanataha. Vijanataha is one who, having reached the one and only common goal. So, for them, Vedas are not required. That's all it says. The spiritual practices prescribed in the Vedas give the seekers knowledge, peace, happiness, but ultimately they all help in realization of the omnipresent Supreme Self. Having gained the ultimate knowledge, the scriptural practices of the Vedas are no longer required. So this is the meaning of this. Yavanartha udapane
यावानर्थ उदपाने
sarvataka samplutodake.
सर्वतः सम्प्लुतोदके
Udaka is water, full of water. Sarvataka, everywhere water you find. Water everywhere. Yavan artha, I'm reading together. Yavan artha udapane
Yavanartha udapane
सर्वतः संप्लुतोदके
sarvataha samplutodake
तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु
tavan sarveshu vedeshu
ब्राह्मणस्य विजानतः.
brahmanasya vijanataha.
Actually, in the notice which are given there, I thought of doing up to verse 53, but no need to go fast. We'll do this particular verse, the very important verse, verse 47. With this, we'll conclude today's class. Other verses we'll take next week. Because this is we should not go fast here, very important verses. Karmani eva adhikarakate.
Karmanya eva adhikaraste.
Let us read split by split it to the ultimate word. Karmani eva adhikarakate.
Karmanya eva adhikarahate.
No, initially you say karmani eva. Karmani eva adhikaraha te.
Karmani eva adhikarahate.
Now club together two. Karman eva adhikaraste.
Karmanyeva adhikaraste.
Club all four together. Karman eva adhikaraste.
Karmanyeva adhikaraste.
That is the way we normally pronounce. Karman eva adhikaraste.
Karmanyeva adhikaraste.
Ma phaleshu kadachana.
Ma phaleshu kadachana.
Ma karma phala heturbhuhu.
Ma karma phala heturbhuhu.
Again, heturbhuhu has to be split. Ma karma phala heturbhuhu.
Ma karma phala heturbhuhu.
Ma karma phala heturbhuhu.
Ma karma phala heturbhuhu.
Ma te sangaha astu akarmani.
Ma te sangaha astu akarmani.
Ma te sangostu akarmani.
Ma te sangostu akarmani.
Ma te sangostva karmani.
Ma te sangosta karmani.
All together. Karmanyevadhikaraste.
Karmanyeva adhikaraste.
Ma phaleshu kadachana.
Ma phaleshu kadachana.
Ma karma phala heturbhuhu.
Ma karma phala heturbhuhu.
Ma te sangostva karmani.
Ma te sangosta karmani.
Actually, this one single verse has almost 4 sentences. 4 specific directions are given in this. We have to read very carefully. Te adhikaraha karmani eva. That is, you have a right to action only. Te adhikaraha karmani eva. You have a right to action only. Kadachana phaleshu. Never to the fruits. So, ma means no. Ma means don't. Negative. Ma karma phalaha hetuhu. Let not the fruit of action be the motive. Let not the fruit of action be motive. Ma karma phala hetuhu. Then ma bhuhu astu te sangaha akarmani. Never let your attachment be to inaction. Previous word said action. Now you said inaction. This is a very deep, philosophical, highly hidden meaning is there. If you don't understand that, we tend to make fun of this article. I always say that for example, my son himself told me, what is that Gita is teaching? It is totally impractical. How will it work? It is illogical. He says you should do only action and not expect results. If results are not there, why will do? For example, I'm working in a government office. I'm working for salary. If I don't have a right for salary, I will not work at all. A businessman will say, if profit is not the motive, why will I work? That applies to everybody. A student will say, if I'm not worried about the result, why should I struggle the whole year? So this type of a wrong interpretation can come if you don't focus on the exact meaning of this. So there are four parts are there. Let us see very clearly. This verse says, we have a right. Actually not right. It is actually word is control. You have control over actions only. How much I work, what work I will do, how sincerely I do, how many hours I put in. On this, I have full control. But we do not have similar control over the results thereof. A student can prepare very well for the examination. Student will put all his efforts, but then he cannot say, I'm going to get the first rank. I'm going to the topper. It cannot, because there are others also in the field. You may not even know what is their relative performance, how they are struggling. You don't know. They also expect a first rank. You also expect first rank. Both cannot get first rank. Apart from that, there are a lot of imponderables. You think you wrote well, whether you're able to express well, that is to be judged by a invigilator, to be judged by a teacher, evaluator. And there can be some very unfortunate things that when the evaluator is evaluating your paper, at that time maybe that person is in a foul mood. He may not give you good marks. You never know. There are so many imponderables are there over the results. So better focus on the action, so that normally good action, sincere hard effort will certainly pay, will certainly give you a good result. So efforts alone can never be the sole determinant of the fruit of action. But thinking of this, at the same time, we should never cease to make our best efforts. Our job is to make best efforts. I must do. That is because the external environment, other people's effort, evaluators' mind, this is not under our control. Every situation may not be favorable to us. We can have our likes and dislikes, but our mind should be guided by our intellect. Because human beings are the only persons who have the benefit of having intelligence, what is called intellect. All animals, they are guided by instinct. All other beings, they are guided by instinct. They have no choice in the way they behave. But human beings have a choice. Now, what is Gita is telling us? Gita is advising us detachment, not attachment. Detachment. Detachment from the fruits of action or results of actions, which have to perform in course of one's duty. So in this context, Krishna is telling Arjuna, your job is to fight the battle. You have been trained well, you are an expert, you fight. But others also will fight well. The result of the war is not under your control. Don't focus on that. You focus on your duty, your action. If you do well, probability is you'll succeed. But for success, you also need blessings of the Supreme. Indirectly, Krishna is telling, when I am there with you, why do you worry? But Krishna himself. So Arjuna's name is Vijaya Sarathi. Vijaya is Krishna. Sarathi is Krishna. Partha or Partha Sarathi. So when Sarathi is with him, why should Partha worry? When Partha Sarathi is with him, why should Vijaya worry about the results of the action? So have faith in Krishna, that is, have faith in Supreme Being, performs your duty very well. If you don't lift the Gandiva, if you don't even fire arrows, then even Krishna cannot help you. Krishna may sit in the chariot, but that will not help you. That's why always the last verse of Bhagavad Gita is so important. Yatra yatra yogeshwara Krishna, yatra partho dhanurdharaha. The Arjuna who is uplifted dhanu with Gandiva appraised. Yatra yatra yogeshwara Krishna, yatra partho dhanurdharaha. There tatra vijayor bhutihi dhruva nitir matir mama. Sanjay is telling with full confidence, That if Krishna is there, that means the right path is available, right guidance is available. Arjuna is there, but that means you have the talent, you have the activity, and you are prepared to put in your best efforts. Then Sanjaya says, Dhruva Nitir Matir Matihi. I know very clearly, my firm conviction that Vijaya will be yours. So Gita ends on this very, very positive note. So Krishna's advice is better to be non-attached to results, because working of the world are not designed, they are not meant, they are not customized to positively respond to our calculations. Hence, expected fruits may or may not be forthcoming always. This is not in your hands. So don't worry and focus about that. So basically, what Gita is telling is, don't mortgage your present commitment to uncertain future. By worrying about the future continuously, you are spoiling your present. Don't do that. Focus on the immediate goals. Don't reduce your focus on the action. Because if you too much, if you are focused on the results, then action also will suffer. Anxiety for result affects the effort. Effort itself is gone. So what does Krishna tell us? Work for work's sake. Work well accomplished is its own reward. Then work becomes a pleasure. Now, pleasure will lie in the garb of work. It may look like work, but you are getting pleasure out of it. It applies in every field, including politics. Suppose today elections are voting is taking place in uh, Bengal now, Calcutta and Assam. Now, if the parties are they're having a good ideology, if they are sincere heart, they are working prepared, and they are able to communicate the message correctly, if they are for the good of the country, if people are convinced about the good of the country, and then not only stop there, but booth management, everything you do, you are the ground force there, then results are pakka. It applies to everybody, including politics applies. But we must have a clean mind, clean conscience. No motive should be to serve people. Then you'll get reward. Good efforts are certainly necessary for good results, because good efforts are also most likely to result in good results. But sometimes what happens is, despite your best efforts, results will not follow, especially because in the face of a competition. Then what I should do? We should be sportive enough to accept that the others are better. If you are watching this cricket one day match, the previous match, India scored 320 or something. They won convincingly. And yesterday, India scored more than that. They scored 337 something. They lost miserably. And what did Virat Kohli say? He said, we have put up a very good performance. We have done very well, but they have done better. They are done so far, so well they did. Kohli openly accepts we stood no chance. Now here, not that Indian team has not performed well. Indian team has performed better than earlier, but their better was not enough. The other team played still better. So here you have to understand what is happening. Or you should not in the beginning accept that no, England is very powerful, we are going to lose, and don't play. Then you will not even score 100 runs. So I'm giving an example which is there in my mind, latest mind. I'm saying. So Virat Kohli acted exactly like this. He behaved in a very sportive fashion. He accepted the other party to be much better than the team is better than his own team yesterday. At the same time, we should be smart enough to put in more efforts in the next round. Nothing is lost. It's a three-match series. One we won, one they won. Third match is there. Now, don't worry about why we lost yesterday's match. You focus on the third match which is going to take place day after tomorrow. Give your best. Maybe you will succeed. So I'm only trying to interpret this verse in every sphere, be it sports, be it politics, be it academic life, anywhere. That is why they say Bhagavad Gita is not meant for only retired people. It is not a retirement plan. It is a guide for action. guide for youngsters. They can use it in a positive way and get benefited. So this is one of the very popular verses which are repeated and used in different contexts. कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते
मा फलेषु कदाचन
मा फलेषु कदाचन
मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः
मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः
मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि.
मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि.
So on this very positive note, we can conclude the individual verses. The other verses we'll take up